So let's get to politics, ladies and gentlemen. And let's start with Jill Vogel. Jill Vogel. I want to start there.
Okay.
State Senator, Republican in the Valley, very Republican district. And Jill Vogel voted, I think she did the right thing, on her committee in favor of getting Medicaid expansion out of committee to then pass through the Senate. Now, that has raised the ire of many on the Jill Vogel side. And some people have said that she's going to get a primary challenge. And some people have suggested that that might come from Martha Bonetta, although Bonetta has vehemently denied any desire to challenge Jill Vogel in Virginia. Let's start with Chris. What do you make of the whole thing?
Woodfin or Saxman?
Saxman.
You looked at me
sorry.
and said, you got
to specify today.
That's right. I got to go Saxman or Woodfin.
I talked to a congressional candidate yesterday on the Republican side, asked him what was going on in the campaigns, and he said, not much. Everyone's angry at D.C. Most people in the party, though, are looking for the 2019 elections because they're still angry about that vote. Whether that continues or not is difficult to say. The reality, though, is for Senator Vogel, the messaging on this has to be one of victory, and they should be out there talking about the reforms and how they're reforming the entire Medicaid program, not just saying they expanded Medicaid and expanded the entitlement program, which drives fiscal conservatives nuts. I think they have to weigh in on that. They're not going to get away from it by just not talking about it. You're going to have to go out and explain the vote and what you did. I think Jill is a great candidate. She's been a very good senator. But this is a different time in politics, and she's going to have to win the nomination straight away. That said, I don't think Martha's going to run against Jill. I think they're friends. When Jill was, more in line to win lieutenant governor, Martha was thinking about running for her Senate seat, but right. I don't see that competition coming to fruition.
So do you see? Let's just sum this up. So do you see Vogel getting challenged on the right?
Yes, but
in
she
a
wins.
primary,
but she still wins.
But she still wins, even though she had the Medicare vote. Woodfin?
I think she's going to get challenged, just as Chris says. She'll get challenged. Whether that'll be Martha or whether it'll be somebody else still remains to be seen. But because of the the expansion vote, she will definitely get challenged. It is being touted right now as an expansion vote, and I think that narrative is bad for her inside of a primary. If that keeps up, I think she could be in trouble in a low turnout primary just in this environment. But again, she's going to have a war chest, so she's definitely going to have the financial advantage. Probably,
but you've got to sell this thing as a win, and they've been backtracking on this since it passed, and handing it over. They should be saying these are the good things in the bill, not just the expansion, because it's a significant amount of reform in the Medicaid portion, not just the expansion, but the existing population, and really good reforms. And I don't know why they're not talking about it.
That narrative's not getting out there.
That's my point.
And that's the thing. If that narrative doesn't get out there,
right.
She's in trouble.
If these primaries,
Andrew, go ahead.
Yeah, each one of those people who voted for that, House and Senate, I think are going to get primary challenges.
They're going to get primary.
Maybe not the folks in leadership, but I think everybody's going to should expect one. Wagner definitely, Hanger, Vogel. But if their primary race has become a referendum on Medicaid expansion or a referendum on Jill Vogel, Frank Wagner, and Ed Hanger support Obamacare, and John Smith doesn't, then they've lost. They've got to get out in front of it. Like Chris said, there's a lot of conservative reforms that are in that bill, and there's a story to tell and a case to be made,
right.
But they're not doing it. And it's, if there's one lesson I've learned in observational politics, I think John Kerry made that mistake in 2004 by not responding. The story gets told about you, and by the time you get around to responding, people's opinions are set and the facts are what they are. So they can't let this narrative continue for too long.
Yeah, well, I mean, they should really go back to my radio shows during that time and take my narrative on it, because I think I did about the best job of anybody in defending those votes and why I thought it was a good idea, why I was in favor of it. But you're right, and I think Wagner has been aggressive in defending it, but I think Jill has taken let's stay silent approach. I mean, she sent a tweet out the other day. It was the first tweet she sent out in 3 months.
Well, she may not run again. That's
well,
long been
she's
rumored.
going to run again. I mean, she's going to run.
Yeah, she's not acting like she's not running again. Yeah. I think Frank's acting like he's not running again.
Yeah.
But that's we're in cycle now for the Senate, and until they're out, they're in. And Jill, since this was the subject that was brought up, she has to work very hard and message early to not have a primary opponent, and she should do that to save the caucus money.
So let's get to let's get to Bonetta. Okay, she's been rumored to run. I talked to Martha several times. By the way, she's going to guest host our show tomorrow, and she has said to me unequivocally she's not going to challenge Jill Vogel, and I don't think she is. I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah,
Martha wouldn't say something and not do it.
Yeah,
on that level.
So I don't think she's going to do that. But I gotta tell you, she's guest hosting my show tomorrow, and I covered the 5th District convention. As you were there, right? Both you guys were there. Both Woodfin and Saxman were there with me live on air, and she went into that race. I think she got 2 votes and got eliminated, or 3? 2 votes. She got eliminated on the first ballot. But I got to tell you, I gained a tremendous amount of respect for her, Chris and Andrew, because she came under, in 48 hours, some of the most nastiest, withering, intense, negative attacks I've ever seen against anybody in that short period of time. Yeah. I mean, they dug up everything in the woman's history, her divorce battle, her custody battle, things she did that she shouldn't have done. It was, it's all out there. It's all public record. They packaged it. They sent it out to everybody. It was very embarrassing. And a lot of people would have just withered under that. To her credit. She handled it with grace.
She handled it with grace, and she didn't let it stop her.
She didn't let it stop her.
I mean, this country is known for its redemptive qualities. It's Christian in its heart, which means if you get out there and you're accused and convicted and come back, people kind of go, well, we know about that. I mean, as soon as Bill Clinton got up there and said, not comparing the two, it's a false equivalency, but as soon as he said, yep, everyone oh, okay, that's fine. Well, they moved on.
When they went after her as nasty as they did during that 5th District thing, and I say they because I'm not going to say, everybody's got an opinion as exactly who it was. Right. Nobody exactly knows. But my opinion in terms of what it was about is it wasn't about the 5th District race. It was about taking her out for this potential run against Jill. I believe that they did not want her running next year, and that's what it was about. Because from the beginning of that, I don't believe she ever had enough votes inside of that 5th District committee to be enough of a threat to go after her as hard as they did for that vote.
So you think I would disagree on that. I see that play.
Machiavellian.
It's Machiavellian, but never lose sight of the fact that the only vote you have is the one right in front of you. Right. And they were going to knock her down a notch. Whoever wanted to win and play that card played it to win that race. Yeah. And if there's a downstream effect of it, okay, fine. And there might be some upside for other folks. But I think that was a play inside the 5th District. Just my gut. I have no knowledge, nor do I want that.
Neither do I. Mine's just
there's 2 schools of thought now on Bonetta.
But it was a hit job.
It was a hit job.
It was brutal,
and it was very nasty. And in fact, I remember somebody sent it to me.
Hang on, John.
Reading it, and I couldn't get to the bottom. It just made me sick, and I just said I didn't even want to be. I didn't want to read it. Go ahead.
It was brutal. However, the Democrats would not be any nicer to her were she a candidate for Congress or for any other state house. Yes. This is part of the vetting process. And Martha, up to this point, has been in an advocacy role. She hasn't had to be vetted or tested or gone through any of these background trials that we typically do with candidates. So, yes, it's nasty, but I guarantee you the folks that did that in that convention process were better to her than if that had happened during a general election and the Democrats slammed it on her on the first week in October.
It's nasty, but it's not unnecessary. He is right.
And frankly, you should, if you're in politics, and granted, this was a very compressed time frame.
Right.
If you're serious about running for a congressional seat, you better pay someone to do the opposition research on you, so you know what the envelope is when they lay it on your desk and go, here it is.
Right.
Because you're going to get whacked.
Right.
If it's in the public record, it's going to be in the public eye.
Right.
Well, and that's one thing. Martha has not, to this date, to my knowledge, addressed anything that was done. She never acknowledged that there was even a hit piece out about her.
Nope. Right.
And so that part of it still exists for whatever she does next. At some point, she's going to have to at least address that. And
so the question is this, and you're all Republican operatives, so I'm going to put this question
I'm not an
out.
Operative.
Well,
don't do that.
You ran for office. And,
I know politics. Okay,
I know
Republican politics.
You're a consultant, Woodfin. But look, so does she have a does she have a political future, or is the negative, is the oppo that came out on her, is it what consultants would call disqualifying? Woodfin?
No. Well, I mean, I honestly don't believe there's very little that is disqualifying, especially in this day and age. You can overcome almost anything.
This is post 2016.
Right.
We're clear.
This dossier has nothing on
You can overcome almost anything in the political world if you do it right and you have the money, as long as your consultants and the people that are advising you know everything up front. I always tell candidates, don't hide anything. You have to tell us what's out there, or we do the oppo and find what's out there so that we know what's coming and we can have a response ready for it.
What kills you is a drip, drip, drip.
Exactly. We've got to know what's out there so that we can have a response for it.
Does she have a political future, or
sure.
Or
yeah? We're in a redemptive society, just like Chris said. She can certainly do it.
Is it a benefit to her that stuff is out there now? And
yes,
it's out. And
yeah, because there's an expiration date on that kind of stuff. But the reality is, at some point, if it becomes an issue, you're going to have to address it.
She's going to have to address it.
And it's a simple answer.
If it becomes an issue and it's part of a narrative, it's always the narrative counter narrative in politics. If it becomes a narrative that she's not a good person or not a good politician and shouldn't represent the public, then you have to go and say, yeah, that happened. This is the truth. Move on. Boom. Done.
Okay, let's get to Andrew.
Yeah, I mean,
Andrew Vehorn.
Yes, she has a future. She's obviously been decided as a great spokesman for our party and for the cause, and it has a simple fix. Divorces are nasty. This was a troubling time in my life, and everybody makes mistakes. And look at what I've done, not what I did back then, and let's move forward and change the subject.
Right.
It's
because everyone goes through their poop pile.
She also had the I think there was a Saks Fifth Avenue or something. There was a theft in there. That was in there. I thought of everything in there. That was the toughest one for her to explain, because that was in like 2006. And so that was out there along with everything else. And it's like, okay.
But wasn't that dismissed though?
It was dismissed, yes.
Well, that's a dismissed charge. I mean, people get wrongfully accused all the time. Mm-hmm. And she can easily say, look, I was wrongfully accused. The charge was dismissed.
Right.
So yes, to your point, John, it's good that it's out there, and it's good that they all came out together, so that there wasn't a drip, 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 and she's addressing it piece by piece, and then the narrative builds itself.
Okay. So, very quickly again, does Martha Bonetta have any electoral political future in Virginia? Saxman, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Woodfin?
Yes.
Yes, there has to be the avenue, though. I mean, she's in a Republican area that has House of Delegates members that aren't going anywhere, has state Senate members that aren't going anywhere. So where does she go? I mean, maybe the most obvious path for those in that position is lieutenant governor on a statewide.
But the question is where and why?
Yes.
Why are you running?
Why are you running?
Politics is a lot about timing. I mean, you've got to be in the right place, right time. Seats got to open up. I mean, kind of like, a number of guys out in, Roanoke now, all of a sudden something opened up. And so they've got an
saw it coming.
They would have never had.
Once in a decade.
Right. With the theft charge, you guys were absolutely right. That was dismissed and thrown out. And so, when it's a matter of public record that was dismissed. So forget that. That's gone. I mean, the fact that it's out there and the fact that she was able to get through it. Now, she hasn't addressed it. She'd have to do that.
Yes.
But I think she has a future, because I watched her in those 2 days. I mean, I was there. We were there broadcasting live. Right. And I thought that she stood up to that with a lot of poise and grace that other people just wouldn't have been able to do.
Well, she went right past it. She didn't address it. She didn't deal with it. She went right past it.
Even in her speech, she went past it.
Right past it.
Right.
And then as soon as the vote was over, she was gone.
Right.
She was moving on, and she was punching the next day on something else.
Right.
It was.
So if she runs for office, she's going to have to deal with it.
Yeah. My question would be on the
theft
charge.
Not dwell. Deal.
Even though the theft charge was dismissed, and I remind everybody, just because a case is dismissed, it's still there that you were charged with it.
Right.
Unless you file to have it expunged off your record, which you can do. You can make a motion.
It doesn't matter. It's out in the public domain now.
Yeah.
It's in the public domain.
Well, now it is.
It's easily defended. Say, look,
she should have just expunged
this is what happened. It was dismissed. If you want to talk about everything that has come up in your past, all the accusations that you faced in your life, I think it's time we move past that. You build your narrative, you move on.
Yeah.
The more you dwell on it.
I'm with Saxman. I think she can win. I think if she runs again, she'll get better. First time candidates, it's tough. She window. But
that's a tough race.
I don't think it's disqualifying.
That wasn't really.
That's not a race.
And,
a race. That was 12, 18 people.
But if she decides to run for something and take a serious look and be a serious candidate, I think she can overcome
all I know is
that.
the FEC didn't even consider that an election because I tried.